I'm Gavin from Spitfire Engineering Services and this is episode 4. Now I'm in the office on my own today because it's a Saturday. There's nobody else here. But in today's episode we're going to show some of the achievements that some of our team have done. We've also got one for the geeks this episode. There's a lot of detail on 2 projects that we've got going on, mini screens and bucket repairs. We've got interviews with Chris at EveryTrade, and we've also got lots of other stuff going on, as well as some site visits of some jobs that are coming up in future episodes. Right, so let's crack on. So I'm on the road again today. If you're a regular viewer, you'll notice I spend a lot of time on the road, traveling the country, looking at different jobs. Today I've got a couple of site visits. The first one is up in Birmingham. It's to a company that takes in used cooking oil. They collect used cooking oil and they're building a new processing centre. So all the used cooking oil from kebab shops, chip shops, that sort of thing, all get collected by this company and they all get brought to a central location where they decant the oil out of the tubs that they're collected in, and then it gets filtered and processed and it goes off and gets put into biodiesel. And I'm coming up here today just to get a feel for the new site, where it's going, because we've done some designs of what they need, but I just want to come and have a look and see what the access is like, see what's involved, just get a feel for the site. Then as soon as I've done there, I've got to go to Wales to a document shredding facility, and they've got a baler. If you remember a few weeks back, I actually went and looked at this job a few weeks ago, where we've put a price in for it, they've accepted the price, and now we've got to go up and take some measurements of the different things that we've got to adjust. So we're moving a baler from its existing location now, and we're going to move it into a new building that they're building. Hopefully I can get some video footage so you can see what we're trying to achieve, and then obviously these jobs will come up in future videos. So as I've said before, a lot of our jobs, some of our jobs go on for months, so we can't show you the beginning and the end of the job sometimes in our bi-weekly episodes, but hopefully if you keep watching over the weeks, you'll see the job go from start to finish over a period of time, over a few episodes. So let's go and have a look, and I'll video what I can. As I say, both of these sites are quite sensitive sites. There's a lot of technology going into the oil processing line that is their technology, their IP, and also obviously secure document storage and shredding. That's also obviously quite sensitive, confidential documents about. So I'll film what I can, and what I can't film, I won't film. So let's see how we get on. Okay, so we've got a huge building here that we're looking at. Got some roller shutter doors to come in. The other side of that fence there is what they're going to call a tank farm. So that's going to be full of tanks, and oil, used cooking oil, will come in and be pumped out of the lorries and stored in the tanks. Then when it's come from there, in this corner over here, we are designing and building a twin vibrating sieve. So any of the solids that are inside the oil can get screened out and come and go down a chute and get sent somewhere else. The clean oil is then going to get pumped from there and be filtered and go off to make biodiesel. But what we're doing is we're looking at doing a vibro sieve there. We're also putting a price in to put a pallet conveyor from over there, the other side of that oven, and it will come along here to about here somewhere, and then there'll be a 90-degree pallet transfer that will then come across this way. At this point here, they'll be taking all the full drums of oil off the pallets and putting it through a machine to empty the oil out of the drums. The drums will then go through a wash station, which will be over there somewhere. The pallet conveyor will continue down the side of the wash station. So the drums will get took off here, right in front of us just here. We'll go through the wash station. The pallet conveyor will continue down to here, where the empty drum, the clean empty drums will get put back on a pallet and then will be wrapped up by a wrapper and be sent out to be refilled. So that is what we're looking at doing here. So the plan is we're going to move this baler from where it is now to a new location. And what they want to do, where the conveyor comes up there, feeds in the top and the paper falls down here, and then the pumps the bales out here. What we want to do, when it gets moved into the new place, we're actually going to feed the conveyor from this end up here. So that conveyor up there that's got the yellow panel running at the side that currently feeds it at the minute is going to be repositioned so it actually feeds from this end. So the conveyor will run down here. So we're going to have to make a new top hood there to take the conveyor when it's spun around into a different configuration. This power pack here, this is the hydraulic power pack that powers the big ram inside. That there is the big ram that goes inside, with these two pipes go into it here. So this power pack's going to have to sit to the side over there and spin it round through 90 degrees and put it on its own stand so that we can get the conveyor to come through here and keep it tight, because the conveyor wants to run here, so this power pack's going to be in the way. And then in doing so, the legs on the conveyor these legs here are going to have to be made wider so it straddles over the baler itself. So we've got to make a new top hood, a frame for this power pack to sit on, and widen these legs, and then do new guards down the side here so it's all nice and safe. So I'm just going to have a measure up today for these bits and bobs so we can go back to the workshop and make them, and we'll be back here in a few weeks' time to move all this around. So that's those two site visits done. As I say, at the minute in the oil processing place, you'll have to use your imagination a little bit to see what it's going to look like when it's finished. That entire building is going to be full of machinery or tanks or drums of oil when it's done. So I'm going to go back now and just finalise some of the designs on that. We'll have to submit designs for the different bits that we're doing before they give us the go-ahead. So I'm going to head back to the office now, speak to George about that, and then with the baler move, we've discussed with the customer on site what we're going to do. They're happy with that, so we'll just crack on with that. We'll get the bits drawn up and then get the lads in the workshop cracking, because that's got to be done for the end of the month. So I'm back in the yard. I thought I'd better have a quick look around the workshop and see how we're progressing with the latest mini screen builds. We've got two frames here for our standard E21s. I'll just spin the camera around and I'll show you around these frames. So these frames have been put together by Stefan, our new fabricator. Started this week. Welds are looking pretty good. So these are our standard frames. You'll notice, I'll show you some E21C frames in a minute. These are slightly different, but obviously these are, I don't know if they're just finished being fabricated, they're still going to be finished off, but these will now go off for paint. Got the brackets up here and down here where the mounts go for the screen box. Got your forklift pockets for moving around. So the screen box goes in the top. Anything that gets screened comes underneath in this area here, and then all the oversize will come off this end of the box down to here. Now these frames are made on this jig here. So we cut the box section and fit it to the top of this jig. And because we make so many of these, it just makes it easier. You just put all the components on this jig, tack weld them all together, and then the two sides, this is obviously makes the sides of the screens. So obviously that frame just there that you can see actually starts out, you can see it's a similar shape to this. So we put all the bits of box section on here, tack weld it together, and then form the two sides to make the actual main frame itself. And then once we've done that, we've got a plate to put on the front on these ones, a plate to put on the back. We put the forklift pockets in, as well as the mounts, and that's the frame made. So I'll show you an E21C frame so you can see the difference between the two now. So this is an E21C frame. The forklift pockets are in a different position, they're slightly lower down. You can see the differences on this frame. We've got another beam in here, which the forklift pocket's attached to underneath, which is slightly different to the E21 frame, where the forklift pockets are slightly higher up. We've also got the two angles that run inside to take the conveyor. But apart from that, it is in essence the same main frame, but this has just got more bits and bobs on it because it's an E21C. The control panel goes there. It's already pre-drilled for the control panel to be bolted to the back, and obviously it's still got the mounts at the top, all in the same place as the E21s. Like I say, it's a similar frame. This one's just got more bits and bobs added to it. Got a couple of screen boxes in paint at the minute. This is the undercoat that we put on. We put a high build primer undercoat on our boxes, and then we give it 2 coats of top coat, giving us a good covering to make it really hard wearing. And we've never had a problem with paint on any of our machines. The paint that we use is an etched primer, so it actually eats into the metal, and we've never had a problem with paint peeling off or flaking or anything. So yeah, it's just 2 boxes. The boxes are the same, whether it's an E21 or an E21C. It's exactly the same box. And these two will be going on those 2 frames I've just shown you outside that were already painted. So on this bench we've got the brackets that bolt to the side of the mini screen box. These bolt to the side of the box, and the actual mount, I'll just stand this up, they sit like that on the side of the box, and then the suspension mount goes underneath, and that's what the box vibrates on. So there's a suspension mount that goes underneath these, and that's what gives the box the flexibility to move when it's vibrating. These just need finishing welding, and then these will go off to paint. This conveyor here is the one that's the extra long one with another metre section in it. We've got this section here, so from there to there is another metre longer than the standard. So if you remember in the last video I showed you we'd sold one with an extra long conveyor. Well, this is the conveyor for that. So this is now being built up in the workshop, and this will go inside a standard E21C frame. So yesterday we had a look round mini screens. We've got this one being put together, we've got the conveyor nearly finished, got the frames, got the box, but actually the lads have now put this together today. It's not quite finished, there's still a few bits and bobs to finish on this, but I thought I'd just show you around the electrics, because we've had Sean, our electrician, in today, and Sean comes in and does all our electrics here. Just going to show you inside the control box and see what it looks like in there. Now the control box is really simple. You've got buttons to start and stop the conveyor and start and stop the screen deck, and an emergency stop. So you'd think it's a relatively simple circuit inside, but if you actually have a look inside here. Now I'm no electrician and I know roughly what goes on in here, but it's quite involved. For such a simple machine, it is quite an involved electrical circuit inside. So that's the inside of the door with all the switches and all the wiring going to it, all nice and tidy inside. And that's what controls everything on this screen. Like I say, it's basically 2 circuits, but you need all the trips, the relays, the breakers and whatever else is going on in here. So this one is the one with the extra long conveyor. You can see the conveyor does actually stick out a lot more than the others. The customer actually wanted a 2-metre extension on it, but we were a bit dubious about how stable it would be. So we've done a metre extension on this one. It's all wired up at the top. We've actually had this running. And the vibrating motor, which is this orange motor here, that's what controls the deck. Now, if you remember, I was talking about the roster mounts, roster style mounts that we use, which we've got on here. And what they do, I'll just give this a bit of a shake. So the vibrating motor vibrates in there, and basically what it is, it's a motor, an electric motor with a shaft out each end. And on each end of the shaft is like a weight, and the weight is like a semicircle, so it's like that. And there's 2 of them in each end. And what you do is you turn the outside weight around to reduce or increase the amount of weight, the eccentric weight on it, and you can vary how aggressive these vibrating motors are. So you can turn it down so it's a small vibration, or you can adjust the weights inside so that they vibrate a lot. And what we do on these, we set these to about 80%, which is about what we need for everything that goes over these screens. So these motors have got a little bit more capacity if we need to increase it, or we can turn it right down. You get some products like wood chip, which we've had in the past. If it's really aggressive, it falls through the top mesh, bounces back off the bottom mesh, and then comes back out the top. So in certain applications, we do have to turn them right down. But generally, we set these to 80%, and that is about right for what we need. The other bits we've still got to put on this, there's some greedy boards that come up here and come full length down the sides, so that anything coming off the deck at the top finds its way onto the conveyor belt, and the greedy boards come from up here all the way down to the bottom, down the bottom. And then there's a plate that goes across the bottom. So there's that still to go on this, and this is about ready to go. We're just waiting for the meshes to come in. Just go around the other end. So the meshes sit, we put mesh rubbers on top of these bars, and we set a mesh on top. And we've also got, because these are double deck, we've also got the bottom deck as well, mesh rubbers on there. The meshes slide up there, so this is a double deck. So there's a mesh in here and a mesh on the top. And then we can do different chutes on the front. We can either have a left and a right chute, so one coming this way and one going that way, or we can do a straight chute off the bottom as well. So we can have 3 products off of this machine to this end, and one off the conveyor this end. So the chutes I was just talking about, we've got some being made up here. We do a left and a right chute, obviously for the top and bottom deck, so you can split it left and right. So we make these chutes out of one piece of steel, and it's got a fold here. And then we weld on gussets underneath for strength. There's a main plate welded around there, which marries up with these holes here and these holes here that bolt to the end of the screen box. And then these holes here, there is a brace that bolts between the top and bottom chute just to stiffen everything up. And then Stefan's making another one over here on these trestles. Just finishing off another one. And then they get fully welded or stitch welded, depending on where it is. Those brackets that I was showing you yesterday that were welded up, this is actually one of the brackets here that I've just put on here to show you, see where it goes. This bracket itself gets bolted on here, same that end as well, gets bolted on here through the holes and sits on there, and that's what the roster mounts mount to. So we've got one there, one up this other end here, and obviously the other side, and this box is now going to be cleaned up and painted for the next mini screens. We build our mini screens in pairs because we find that's the best way to do it. We have built them, I think we built them as one of 4 once, but we found that if we build them in pairs, That's the best way to do it. You get your efficiencies when you're building them. So we've just built 2 E21Cs, and we've also got another 2 standard E21s being built at the minute. And I would think by this time next week, another week or so's time, that they'll all be painted, assembled and ready to be sold. I think some of them are already sold, to be honest. People are waiting for them, but I think there's some of them are still going to be stock machines. So the mini screen that we've been building with the extra long conveyor, you see it there, that's 1 metre longer than normal. I'm just loaded it up, just delivering it now. It's for a local customer who's already got one of these machines. So we've got a couple of spare meshes that have just come in for him. And we've also got, let me just spin this round. We've also got a special extended chute for him as well. So this one, when it's fitted, I think this is actually being fitted to, it is actually, it's been fitted to his original machine, because that one's taking hardcore from a crusher. His original screen was bought to do topsoil, but he's now bought a crusher, and that's now processing all the crushed material from his crusher. And this screen is now going to be used for doing the topsoil, which is what the original screen was going to be doing. Let's get it delivered. This is just a drop and go. This is, he knows exactly how it works. So we'll just drop it off for him, and then he'll put it into his operation. I'm not quite sure how it's going to work in his operation with his topsoil, because he's, since we sold his original one, he's moved yards. It's got quite a big business over there now, supplying all sorts of landscaping and paving products. So let's get it delivered. Now, you might not be aware that there's actually a team of 16 of us here at Spitfire, and that ranges from people in the office to people in the workshop. And we are next week interviewing for more people because we are that busy. Now, during the last few weeks, some of our members of staff have actually had some achievements that are probably worthy of a mention. So I'm going to run through them now with you. This is Lauren, our sales and marketing assistant, and she has recently completed her course on digital marketing. So well done to Lauren. This is Connor. He is our year 2 apprentice. He's just finished his level 2. So well done to you, Connor. Last but not least, this is Dan. Dan is also our year 2 apprentice, and he has also completed, the same as Connor, his level 2 welding qualification. He has also had an award for Best Improved for the year. So well done, Dan. This is Paul. He does all the purchasing here at Spitfire. Paul is a bit of a lifer here at Spitfire. He's been with us over 10 years and is an active member of the local British Legion. We were approached through Paul to make a beacon for the 80th D-Day anniversary, which we were more than happy to do for such a good cause, and this is all done through Paul. So we've got a couple of buckets in the workshop this morning that we're going to repair. We probably do over 100 buckets a year here, various different repair jobs, new cutting teeth, new cutting edges, new floors, different cracks need welding up. So I'm just going to show you around these 2 buckets, and I'll show you what we're going to do, and then we're going to do some time-lapse videos and various different stages of the build on these 2, on various different stages of the repair, and we'll walk you through how we do our bucket repairs here. So we're going to change the floor in this bucket because we've got a dent about here, which is a shame because the rest of it's fairly sound. And then we're also going to replace the front edge. We've got some teeth missing. The actual cutting edge itself is pretty worn. These teeth take quite a bit of cutting off and re-welding, and sometimes it's just quicker to cut the entire lot off than just change the teeth. You see the teeth on this end's pretty badly worn. So this one's having a new cutting edge on the front with new teeth and a new floor. And then this one over here, this one's just having a new cutting edge and new teeth. So what we'll do when it comes to taking the cutting edge off, we'll cut along here, both sides, and then we'll come up and over the back of the cutting edge. So we'll cut that out in there, cut that entire section off, complete with the teeth, and then we'll weld a new cutting edge in place, put new teeth on. The teeth need preheating before we weld them on. And then there's lots of welding to put the teeth on. I can't remember how many runs there is around there, because the actual teeth themselves are actually chamfered out quite a lot. So there's probably about 8 or 10 runs of weld that need going around these. The floor in this one has got a very slight dent in it, but it's not bad. And the wear bars on the back are still pretty good. And then this one as well is having new pins, because one of the pins is bent. Not sure if you can see that from... It's difficult to see on the camera, but that pin there is bent, and I think the other one is as well. So it's having new pins and a new cutting edge on this one, and a new floor and a new cutting edge and teeth on that one. So what Connor's using to blow these off, because we're going to have to, on this bucket, we're going to blow these 2 strips off first, each side. And what we use for removing these, because basically that's a weld in there all the way up. So we need to blow the weld out in effect. We need to remove the weld so we can actually take this strip off. And what Connor's going to use for this is this bit of kit here, which is an air out gouging torch. And what it does, it's basically, if anybody's ever seen electric stick welding, arc welding, whatever you call it, this rod will go in here. Will go in that clamp there, like that. And what it does, Connor will then use that. It's powered off of one of our MIG welders, off of one of the big welders. And instead of stick welding, what it does, it creates an arc, and there's a jet of air from the compressor, which is just kicked in just there. What it will do, it will create a molten metal using the arc, and then the air blows that away. So Connor's just getting set up now to blow this off. It's quite a noisy process. You have to use ear defenders whilst you're doing it. And then we're going to blow these 2 strips off. And at the same time, Stefan's going to be cutting that bucket edge off of that one over there. So Stefan's got this one cut off now. Nice clean cut across the back. And then with these side bits here, we'll put the blade in here and slide the tooth on and just trim these to suit, because the tooth does bulge down here, so we might need to just trim these bits just to finish off and get the tooth on both ends. But this will be cleaned up now and the new blade put on. This is the underside of the blade. It's cut off. It's pretty heavy on its own, so we need a forklift to move this around and put the new blade on. But you'll see the actual roots themselves. So you've got the tooth here, which is worn, and then this is what we call the root. and this will go inside here and be welded up on all of them. So this is our pallet of new teeth. This is a root. This slots over the actual cutting edge, and then we weld. See how we've got a chamfer here and here. This gets built up with weld, and this gets welded to these blades here. I don't know why we've got holes in these blades. We don't need them. This is obviously what the supplier had got and they've sent into us, but those teeth will fit onto these blades and get welded in. And as I say, the tooth fits on there like that, and then there's a pin that connects these two holes together, and that's what holds the tooth to the root. And they're in that bag there. You have these little washers here, they fit in there, and then the pin's got like a recess just there, and then that coincides when it's all together, goes in there, gets hammered through, and then that split ring there sits in that recess, and that's what holds it all together and stops the tooth from coming off the root when it's all in position. Stefan's just about to put the blade back on this bucket now. He's already got it cleaned up where the roots are going to weld onto. So he's got to set this up in the right place now and get the roots tacked on, and then just double check that we've got the right dimensions from the toe plate down to the top beam both ends. It's probably not massively critical on digging buckets, but if you're doing a grading bucket, you certainly don't want, when it's on the machine, the blade to be lower one side than the other. But we always make sure that the digging buckets go on the same. So we'll be measuring from the top beam there, which goes across there, measuring up to the toe plate, and make sure it's the same dimension there to there, and also there to make sure that we're square, and also it doesn't put any excess strain on the bucket when it's digging. So that is going to be all put together now, and then we'll weld it up. On this other bucket, Connor has blew off the wear strips with the air out gouging, and he's cut the floor out the bottom. Because we're taking the floor out, we've had it before where the sides can ping out because they're under stress. So we've tack welded a piece of box section across the bucket just to keep everything where it should be. And then we'll get the toe plate welded in here and get the floor put in, and then get the teeth put on. So this bucket is now nearly done. Just a few finishing touches just to finish off. Trim the toe plate up both ends. But this is now done. As you can see, these are put in multi-run welding on the teeth. And we put the teeth on. This will now be finished off. There's another bolt to hold that pin in. There's already one in that one. Just got to finish off putting the pin in there. And then this will just have a quick coat of paint just to tidy it up, because that's what we do for this particular customer. And there's that to finish off. Now, if you remember earlier on, I said that the toe plate had got some holes in it. Well, after I filmed that, we actually had a closer look, and they've actually sent the wrong size toe plate. Now, luckily, we've got some material in stock, so this has actually been used from stock material, but we are still waiting for some new material come in to finish these other buckets. We've got another one here that is ready to have a toe plate, and there's another one outside. So we've cut the old toe plates off of both of these buckets, but we can't do any more to these until that new material comes in. So we'll probably catch that in the next episode. Now, if anybody's been paying attention to our shorts, you'll notice that there was a short the other week about the mini Raptor that was in the last episode. And the short sort of implied that there was something different about that. And one of our eagle-eyed viewers, which is probably one of our youngest viewers, Marty, spotted that this trommel was different. It was green, not blue. Now, Marty's mum messaged us and said that he'd spotted that it was a different colour and said that he was 7. So we thought what we should do is we should send Marty a little goodie bag from us here at Spitfire, and his mum filmed his reaction when he got it, and it's not one that disappoints.
Marty, come and look, there's a parcel come for you today.
Hi Marty, you won. Well done. And spotting the machine, he was green, not blue. Keep watching us on YouTube, A+G.
Is that good? What do you say?
Thank you.
So if you remember in the last episode, I showed you some aluminium that had been cut for a good friend of mine who's semi-retired down to Dorset. We're just putting these steps together now, and we're alley welding, but with the MIG. We've got the right setup and the wire to weld these with a MIG welder. Now normally aluminium is probably done with a TIG welder, but you'd be there a little while welding these up with a TIG welder, and these are just literally steps. So it's not some high-end bespoke aluminium radiator or anything like that. So we'll just weld these up with a MIG. We've already got some welded up over here. And then the welds get dressed back, tidied up with a 120 grit flat disc, and all the corners get blended in. And the idea of these is these two plates here get bolted on the top through them holes, and then there's some non-slip rubber that goes on the top, and then the two strips, they've been countersunk, so the bolts go through there, hold the rubber on the top, and it stops the person standing on it from slipping off. And these are the aluminium steps finished. Don't know how many there is, but they're all done and ready to go out. Okay, so today I am on my way up to Manchester, going to see the Foo Fighters. But on the way, I'm going to go and see Chris at EveryTrade. In the last episode, we did a piece with Dave at D&J about what he thinks to his new trommel. I'm going to go and do the same for Chris up there. So let's go and see what he's got to say. So we're here this afternoon with Chris from EveryTrade, and I've come up to ask him what he really thinks of the trommel drum that he had off of us about 6 weeks ago now.
Well, to be honest with you, Well, we love it. It's the only thing that we're against is Manchester weather.
Yeah.
But as you can see, it's not the nicest today, but we're still managing to screen, and we've got a lot to get through. But in terms of engineering, you know I'm a big fan of you guys anyway. We've bought stuff off you before, but in terms of engineering, reliability, the little bit I know at the moment, it's great, no complaints, and you've been really helpful. I'm not saying that because you're here, but you've been really helpful when we've had to get on the phone, and you know, because this is new to us. We haven't been doing screening sort of this whole side of things for very long, so we're a bit wet behind the ears. So you've been great and sort of helping us and guiding us through the process. So yeah, no, it's great. So far, so good.
So the machine's doing what you bought it to do. It's breaking up the soil and getting everything out that you wanted.
So we bought the mini screener, right, off you
That's
guys last year, and that was great. That was serving a purpose. But what we found is, because a lot of stuff we're bringing back is mixed loads full of hardcore and more clumpier soil, a bit clayey. So that was our issue. That was our pain point. So we really had to be really selective about what we screen. Whereas now we don't. So what we've done is bought a bigger machine, and we're just banging it in. And out one end is coming basically clean hardcore, and out the other end is coming,
usable topsoil that you can sell straight out.
Exactly. Then the hardcore then goes into our pile to be crushed, which we're making another product out of. So it's great. I mean, we're just still finding our feet, and we're learning the best processes and how to sort of make it more efficient. But yeah, no, we love it. Absolutely love it. And I will say this, and again, I said this when I came to see you. Before I commission you guys to make this for us, I looked about the market, used machines, other more well-known brands. In terms of what you get value for money for what actually this does anyway, it's amazing. When I show people what we bought and I tell them what we paid for it, they can't believe it.
So we're too cheap is what you're saying?
Yeah, you need to put your prices up. No, not really. No, but people can't believe it. I mean, again, look, you know, full disclosure, how long have we had the machine for now, really? What, I mean...
6 weeks?
Yeah, something like that. And I won't say we're using it every single day. That's down to us, not down to the machine. It's been great. You know, come back in a year and, you know, hopefully I'll be saying the same thing, but first impressions, it's been great, and
really good.
We're over the moon. And like I say, value for money, customer service, brilliant. So, you know, I do a lot with Dave from D&J, and we talk anyway, and he's really happy with his machine. He's probably a bit further along in the journey than we are, because he's already got that whole sort of processing, aggregate sale thing in place, where I'm starting from nothing, and he's chucking the volume right through it, and it's great. So yeah, I mean, look, today, a typical day in Manchester, overcast, drizzly, it was raining yesterday, and look, we're managing to get stuff through it. But as you can see, we've got a big pile to get through.
You have. How many tonnes do you think you've got through it so far, or have you not managed to keep track?
No, I've probably not managed to keep track, but I'd say, well, I can tell you how many loads we've sent out. We must have sent 120 tonne now on loads. So a decent amount. But it's just like, it's not that we're doing it all day, every day. That's the beauty of it, really, because the beauty of this whole game is that you can let your product coming in pile up, and you can wait, and when the weather is slightly better, we're jumping on it. So yeah, I reckon we've had, I don't know, 120 tonnes out, but we're not even trying yet. We're not even trying. I mean,
and also, the weather as it is at the minute, I've noticed that the output on this is slower than what I would like to see, but it's because the material is damp and sticky. If it dries up and becomes nice in the next few weeks, it'll absolutely fly.
All you've got to do is do the sun. It still stacks up. I know, to me it's a no-brainer, because I know what that product coming out is worth to us for a resale value. And it doesn't matter really what speed. The speed it's coming out now is fine. You know, because we've been paid to get rid of it anyway, and now we can do something and sell it, and it can go back out and make a profit. So you're earning on both ends. So you've got to have the yard space. You have got to have some machines to operate it. And we've had to start from scratch and get those machines, but really...
But you're up and running now.
Yeah, exactly. Now we can see it working and the actual model is proven. We're then more confident about putting more money into the machines, and we're talking about adding conveyors and things like that. And you know, we might even come back to you guys to help us sort of... in my head, the way I want it to work is, one product lands there, it goes through the whole sort of process, and we've got usable products coming off at every angle that we can resell. And also, it's better, you know, we're not sending it to quarries and landfill. You know, so in my eyes, it seems like a no-brainer.
It is the answer, because it's the whole circular economy, isn't it? You're picking it up, and then you're delivering it back to somebody as a useful product. Do you think that, what do you think the payback period for you is going to be on this? I know that's a difficult one, But
yeah, I mean, do you know what? It depends on. It doesn't depend on the machine. It depends on us and our ability to put the product through it. Because that machine will run 24 hours a day. I'm sure it will if we could operate it. So I don't know. I mean, I reckon. Put it this way: I financed it over 5 years.
Yeah.
I reckon I'm more than having money back before then, long before then, and then I've still owned the asset anyway. So the actual economies of it stack.
Yeah.
Yep. If you're like Dave from D&J, who's got the customer base already, he's got a grab side already, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
If you've got a bit of yard space, why wouldn't you do it? You know, rather than pay to tip it, you know, with a little bit of investment, you can be literally processing it and selling it back out. And what you're doing, you're monetizing both ends of that journey. You're monetizing the wheels, you're selling a usable product at the end. And you know what? I believe it's probably good for the environment because we're not filling up. There's no tips around here.
No, there's not. Not like there was.
It's, you know, there's not at all. And you know, and it's a lot more regulated these days as well. So you can't just go and give it a farmer or something like that. You know. So yeah, we're trying to do it the right way. I said on my own video on my channel, EveryTrade, check it out. I checked.
I was actually going to say, Chris has got his own channel.
You've got more subscribers than me.
You need to check him out.
Yeah,
I was going to punt you. I'm going to plug you at the end, Chris.
Don't worry, I'll do that at the end. But what was I going to say now? Block and trailer 4. Well, oh yeah, so I mentioned it on that there. We've probably got this before we actually need it.
Yeah.
But that's always been my approach.
The best way.
And it is because I see this as sort of a bit of an R&D period for us.
Yeah.
We're learning it, and I know I want it to work in my head, and we're prepared to put more money to it down the line, but it's just we're learning. We're playing at it really, but
you've got a great setup here.
Yeah.
You've got a decent sized yard. You've got all your aggregates here. You can do all your recycling here, and now you've got the equipment that stuff can come in and go out relatively quick.
Well, we were paying. That's the whole reason I got into it. We were paying hundreds of thousands of pounds a year for muckaways on
Just
our
to get
own
rid of
jobs.
stuff.
Yeah. So that's why initially I got the idea, bought a grab. I thought, oh, that's okay, but now we're spending loads to tip it. Could we do something with that waste product? Obviously, I'm friends with Dave.
Yeah.
Saw what Dave was doing. Saw you guys on Dave's video, and then reached out really. Went from there, and it's been great. I mean, I love you guys. It's great. You're really accessible. And as I say, I don't, you know, whether you say too cheap or not, if you're happy with what you're making, keep that price same because. But in terms of like that kind of thing, in this environment now is a luxury purchase, but it's not out of reach to the small business like me, right? So you know, if I go, I'm going to Hillhead next week, and I know there's going to be all sorts there. Machinery, as you know, you're into the hundreds of thousands of pounds.
Big money.
That was accessible for me, you know, and I can make a business case for it. I can work out where the payback would be, and it is a bit of a punt, but it's going to work for us. It's going to pay off. So I would definitely recommend people speaking to you guys. And like I say, you basically that. I mean, that's you built two to that spec, haven't you?
Yeah.
So essentially, it's as near to a bespoke commission as you're going to get. Dave, with his experience, told you guys what he wanted it to do.
Yeah.
And then you did it for him.
And that's what we did.
We came down, we were seeing it made. You showed us on the screen. You showed us all the CAD, and it was great. And I remember looking at it thinking, don't actually know what I'm buying. Dave was like, no, this'll do the job.
You
for
need
us.
this, Chris.
And it's great. But look, you can see now. Look there, what was basically a pile of crap is nice looking topsoil there.
And it's got a saleable value. There's money sat there on the floor.
And it's great. I mean, we can use it on our own jobs. You know, we've got. I mean, you're literally making money out of muck. There's no two ways about it. I mean, to be honest with you, I would have this yard running 24 hours a day, but can't sell it fast enough yet. But I'm working on that, and it'll come.
It will come.
It will come.
It will come.
But yeah, it's great.
So if we could do anything better on that machine, what could we do?
Well,
What don't you like about it? What do you think we could improve on?
It's 100% the wrong colour. It's blue. It should be red. No, I don't know. I don't know enough, right? From a businessman, I am not a plant operator. I'm a businessman, right? I look at the numbers, yeah? All I know is I'll put something in that side and it's going to cost me that much to make, and as long as what I can sell what's on the floor for more, that's all I care about.
That's all you're interested in.
The bottom line. I'm sure there's somewhere in the engineers, in the engineering that can be tweaked, can be improved. I've got confidence in that. If I called you guys, you would listen. From us, particularly like my guys that operate it, you'd speak to them. They're at the cold face. If they said, guys, you should just think about tweaking this or whatever.
I spoke to the dig earlier on, and all I got was this vacant look.
He's a weirdo. Yeah, he's
just
really weird.
Nothing.
Yeah, but he's not for about 2 months, so that might be what it is. No, but really, I think you guys would listen to us and we'd work together to improve it. But I know for a fact that we've spoke to you and Dig's called you a couple of times and we spoke to you about you know, little tweaks and how maybe to set it up, and you've helped us, and you know, and that's great, and that's all I can ask for.
That's what it's all about.
Well, that's what, if I buy any plant, if I buy anything, that's all I want. I mean, I've bought other plant before from, like, say, some very established names, but you can't get anywhere near their sort of essentially the owner of the company, because they're, you know, they're abroad or they're in a boardroom somewhere.
That's what we are. We're a family business. It's all about customer serving. It's all about the personal touch.
Yeah, and that'll, I know that people watch my channel, and I know people like this business model because people are telling me, and I know you'll sell more machines. Yeah. And all I can say is, based on our experience to date with you guys and use of the machines, it's great. Yeah, probably don't get that whilst he's hanging out there. We'll cut that bit. Yeah. But yeah, no, I'm really happy with it, and I'm happy with you guys, and I hope that this is just a start of a relationship where you can help us grow this. I mean, you know, long term, I'm very ambitious. I don't know where we'll end up. It's very hard. You'll know this better than me. To start a business like this, we've got an established construction business, but to start a business like this from nothing is so much money. You know, we haven't even got like brand new machines stuff, and we put hundreds of thousands of pounds. It's just money pit. It really is, and I know, and that is the danger is you spend far too much money spending up, so you don't actually ever make enough money. And then, you know, it takes you longer to get it back. But you know, that's why I think your machine there is cost effective. You know, it's a good jump off point to get us going. And you know, if my view is if it really works for us, I'll come back and say, right, I want a machine that'll do twice the volume. Want something bigger. Exactly. What can we do? You know, and hopefully we'll have that conversation. And we can do that. But yeah, no, I recommend it. Really glad to be working with you guys. And good. You know, there's not many companies that I found where you can have that level of dialogue, because engineers, so to speak, or clever people that can design and build machines can be quite hard to communicate with, and can be, you know, there is a little bit of snobbery there, especially with me, because I had no experience in this side of things, so I wouldn't feel ashamed or embarrassed to get the phone to you and say, look, what I'm about to say might sound stupid, but can you help me? Yeah, of course we will. So yeah, no, good. I'm pleased to be working with you guys. Good.
So that's it for episode 4. Come back in 2 weeks' time, where you can see us doing more of what we've done in this episode, but we've also got some big projects just landed. If you remember earlier on in this video, I visited that cooking oil processing place. Well, we spoke about the pallet conveyor. We spoke about the oil drain tank in that. We've both just been awarded those 2 jobs. We've also got 4 conveyors that have been sold to go to France. That is going to come up in a future episode. We've got another mini screen going out the door in the next episode, and lots of other jobs that we've got going on in here. We've still got the mobile picking line to finish off as well. So we're going to crack on with that, because we need the space in the workshop to do some of these new jobs. So that is going to be moved on in the next episode. Now, we're getting really busy now as a business. We've had some good orders come in the last few weeks, and we're expanding. In the next episode, you'll see we're taking on another workshop. We're interviewing for more staff. If you're local to us, get in contact with the office. We're looking for fabricators, we're looking for general engineering operatives, and we're also looking for a new apprentice. We've got 3 apprentices currently, which are at various different stages of their career with us, and we need another new apprentice to join us in the business starting this September. Also coming up in future episodes, we've got a new product that we are designing and building, and working in partnership with another local company. I'm not going to go into too much detail what it is at the minute, but it's quite an exciting project, and it's going to turn the building industry on its head when it comes out. Now, there's a lot of you watching this that have not subscribed to our channel, so please like and subscribe. You know the drill, and you know how to do it. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next episode. I'm Gavin from Spitfire Engineering, and this is episode 4. Now, I'm in my own... No. I mean, Sean that does these for us, it's like a work of art with all this in here.
It's got to be tip tools at you, huh?
I'm going to come down here for you. Yeah. How's that? And so we're taking the mick out of this now. We get the thumb out the side to say we're filming.
Oh, right, is that the thing?
We don't do a cut.
Yeah.
Like
You just go, action.
Need to speak up. Okay. Yeah. Of course we will.
So yeah, no, good. I'm pleased to be working with you guys.
Good. Well, thank you very much,
Enjoy
Chris.
the Foo Fighters.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, keep your top on this time, yeah? Jeez, it's embarrassing.